Hello, so I'm gonna continue with 3 pi. And it's gonna be pretty long, but, uh, so we're back to the 777. What's the meaning of 777? A lot of people use the number 777, but what is it exactly? It could also refer to 3 crosses and crucifixion, um, because T is 7 and, the cross looks like a T. Not the capital T, but the lowercase t, and it's also decoded as 828. Number 828 is very important, which will be explained. But anyway, why is number 828? Because Jesus is in the middle, and he's like the Son of God, and second in the Trinity, so that's the number 2, and he was with 2 thieves, so a thief is against the 8 commandments, so that's why it's 828. And this is very, very much related to the Euler's number, which gonna be explained soon, but for now, the 3 crosses are decoded as the number 1, 2, 3 as well by its position. And also it comes out as the fall. It's related to the fall as well, the number 777, because there was one unrepentant thief and one repentant thief. So Jesus is on the good side. He was like righteous, so he's with the repentant thief. So it's kind of like 2 out of 3 good people and 1 out of 3 bad ones. So this is actually mimicking the fall, because there was 1/3 of fallen angels and 2/3 of who stayed in heaven. So this is actually referring to the fall, and even with the 2/3. If you have 2t, it also resembles a pi symbol, decoded as 7777, just as the number 28 is also the number of that, because 4 times 7 is 28. And so this is pointing to the crucifixion a lot, the number 777 and Pentecost. But then right now with 960, that's a pregnancy number, and that goes after that. Why? Because 40 days representing 40 weeks of pregnancy, and 40 days is 960 hours. So that's why it's important to also see the sequence of the set of numbers. It goes before number 77. So I believe it's not only referring to the years of 5777, 77, and 5776 is 76, but I also do see that the number 77 could also equals to number 11. Sorry, because like the number 7 is equal to 1, because at the time T3 is also 1. During the Feast of Trumpets, and so because of that, it's kind of like putting a pregnancy number. 40 days, approximately 40 days in relation to November, and but so anyway, counting from August the 22nd, 2016 to the 30th of September 2016 would be 40 days in total. And so this is confirming the importance of the number 30th of September, and this is in regard to the barley harvest, and so I was laying out from 29 to 30 because there are different time zones around the world, and so for example in California would be in a 29, but and maybe in New Zealand it will be 30th, but both of them are at the same time, so that's why there's like 29 to 30, and why the 22nd August would be the starting of the count. The reason why, because it was on the fourth Monday, and that makes up 1 and equals to 4 of the 7, and that was actually echoing to the two thieves who where the legs were broken, and because they were thieves, it was related to the number 8, and August 22nd is definitely echoing to pregnancy pattern, the start pregnancy, because why? At the time of the breaking of the legs, Jesus was pierced by his side, and it gushed out both blood and water. And the blood and water, it was referring to the mother with the what we call amniotic sac. So it is where the like baby grows, and so that's kind of with the water and the blood together, and so that's actually representing pregnancy. And so counting the 40 days will end into 30th September, and there's also a lot of evidence pointing to that. It's not just a one-sided perspective, a lot of multiple confirmations, and which I'm gonna explain further. But for now, in regard to November, it's very important to use a Passover boundary of 2016 back in April 22nd to 30th, applying to November 22nd to 30th, because Passover is the most significant festival over any other festivals, and so that's why we must pay extra attention to time Passover. And Passover is about the blood of the Lamb, the blood of Jesus Christ, who shed on the cross for forgiveness of the sins of all mankind. Therefore, Passover is a time of redemption, and so it's very important to use the Passover pattern in November. And you know that there's not only first Passover, there's second Passover as well. That was on May 22nd. It's very, very significant date. Back in 2016, 22nd of May, that was the second Passover. Exactly, echoing to the Eve marker, the earthquake marker of May 22nd. So this too will be explained later. But so anyway, once again, I'm gonna say that there's gonna be two pregnancies. Just as Moses, he went up the mount for the Ten Commandments tablets twice, and he went over there for 40 days and 40 nights each time. So once again, 40 days, 40 nights, representing the pregnancy marker, the 40 weeks of pregnancy. And so it was done twice, so that's referring to a double pregnancies. And the barley and the wheat brides were there's going to be mimicking the pattern of Jesus' ascension and also his transfiguration before the 40 days of ministry. So the piercing of Jesus' side also was representing Adam's side, and that formed Eve and the bride. So this is exactly referring to the birth of the bride, and back in August 22nd was also July 22nd equally. It was a pi date, and later we're gonna see how it's gonna apply. But also, when we add back to the Psalm 23 verse 4 analysis of 220 plus 330 plus 420 equals to 960. And once again, it's proving a pregnancy marker in relation to Psalm chapter 23 verse 4. In relation to the time and the cost of the event and the 6 days of darkness, is also equals to 962, because if we see it as 422 as April 22nd, and so Jared lived for 962 years, and his name means descending. So it's just really interesting because on the clock we can see that pointing to 12 is the upper part, and 6 o'clock is the lower part. 9 is the left and 3 is the right, and so Elul is being pointed as the lower part, and that's pointing to September, and so echoing to meaning of descending. And also there are a lot of other terms like the same word descending throughout the scriptures, like for example, Spirit of God descending like a dove, angels of God ascending and descending, to and back of heaven, and also descent into the pit, and also rain was also described as descending. So I'm not gonna run all this, but if you're interested to know more about it, the book download is, the link is in the description box. But anyway, Hanukkah is also very important, and which will be explained. So now we're on to the number 77, and pretty much explained it before. But if we add the pregnancy pattern from October 5th to the 6th until late November, it would be considered kind of like a late term pregnancy, and so that's actually like sufficiently matching the 40 weeks marker. If counting from October 5 to 6 to early November, it wouldn't be 40 days. But then what about mid-November? Because the 40 days only hit on to the 14th of November, but then once again, it's an approximate number. It's not exactly as 40 days. So, and because the Passover back in 2016 was a late boundary, so that's why late November would be the perfect boundary, pointing to the time of the rapture. And so in regards to the barley harvest, 40 weeks of pregnancy, also 9.2 months, and that's the number 29 backwards, and that's why it's very important to see that. Well, relating to September 29, that's the number 2 and 9 again, and so this part of the confirmation. It was very interesting that number 77 not only points to November but also 9/11, because it was on the second Sunday this year. And the number 77 is also decoded as pi, as explained before about the T. And the date September 11, 2016 was very important, which gonna be explained. But anyway, why Lamech was very important? Because 3 pi was mentioned of the number 424, and Lamech had 2 wives. He was the first person who violated the law of marriage, because the law of marriage is between one husband and 1 wife, and so he had 2 wives. And so this is reflecting Genesis chapter 9 rainbow, because it was connected with the worldwide flood. And back in June 26, 2015, it was indeed a divine marker from God, because it was at the time 9/11. Using the 3 calendars of Jewish, Enoch and Elijah, it was Sivan and Thomas 11 at the same date. So during that time, it had number 9/11, and on 29 of September it will be Ulu the 26th, and that's exactly matching June the 26th, because Elu is the 6th month. And also and during that day was America legalized gay marriage nationwide in all 50 states. And so that's a Pentecostal number 50. And sin of homosexuality is an abomination in the sight of God, is a violation against the law of marriage, because marriage is between a male and a female. It's not a pair of the same gender. It's ironic to see that rainbow represents gay pride, and so during that time it was saying that time is truly up, because because rainbow, it was related to the worldwide flood, and so that's why it was pointing to the year 2015 as something. It's a year that was very unique, and 2016 is equal to 2015 because through the year 5776 of the Jewish year, that overlapped in both years, and so just as the blood moon was from 2014 and 2015 for blood moon tetrad, and so that's why it was saying that 2015 was very important, and it's linking to 2016, and that's why 2016 is kind of like a deadline of something really great. It's gonna happen, very possibly, and because the Lord of Science, according to these 2 years, which I'm going to further explain. So once again, why September 29 will be very, very important, because it echoes to May 29, 2015, because September, which consists of the month of F, in the misalignment of the calendars, and so even though original identity was like May was to August, but because of the misalignment, for now, September is also related to May. And so nothing is by accident. For example, the St. Andreas film was released in America on May 29, 2015. It was a film about the greatest earthquake in history hitting California, and that was matching the 22nd of May 1960, the greatest earthquake in Chile. And just as the number 29 was echoed to Mount Everest is the highest mountain of the world, so representing high places, either for the bride, the rising bride, or for the world falling high places. But the first ascent in Mount Everest was on May 29, 1953, and it was also 029 feet. So there's a lot of the number 29. So that's why it's proving that September 29 is gonna be a very important date in relation to the barley harvest, and also that pointing to September originally was to Ilu as well, and it forms the Cancer constellation. 69, when it's rotated, is the Cancer constellation. So it's echoing to John chapter 10 verse 28. And I give unto them eternal life, and they shall never perish, neither shall any man pluck them out of my hand. And it was kind of like analogy of the crab constellation, with its crab's claws like holding tight So like Jesus holding tight to his sheep. So pointing to time of Elul, so time of salvation of the bride. And I'm not gonna explain everything, because this is gonna be a long video. If I'm gonna talk about everything, but so the next one gonna be the next video. It'll be the 7 primary bases, the Euler's number marker. Thank you.